The SAS, the UK Special Forces, has a very peculiar history. It starts back in World War II in North Africa. It was formed by Lieutenant Colonel David Stirling. It was originally designed to be a paratrooper detachment that would parachute down, flanking enemy lines and planting bombs, known as Lewis bombs, in planes, cars, trucks, and in other important objects. Later on in the war, they decided to use the Long Range Desert Group, or nicknamed the Libyan Taxi Service by the SAS. They effectively became a part of SAS. The SAS's efforts would result in changing the tide of the war by winning back North Africa and pushing into France. The SAS started out as a fake operations unit designed by British intelligence to make Rommel's Afrika Korps believe there were specialised units deployed in North Africa. David Stirling, only a lieutenant at the time, presented General Auchinleck his idea of forming a nighttime raiding elite unit that would flank the enemy from behind. The idea was approved, but it would not be turned into a regiment until later on in the war in 1941. After the L Detachment Special Air Service Brigade became real, Stirling set up a camp in Djawla, a contested point throughout the war that was won by a truce of South African, British and French soldiers. The detachment would soon gain traction, with many members of the British Ulster Rifles and commandos joining. One of the most famous SAS members was Lieutenant Colonel Paddy Mayne, a highly decorated war hero, fierce rugby player and poet. He was specially chosen by David Stirling after hearing reports about his behaviour. It is thought that when he was recruiting, he was serving time in jail for bar brawling. He was told by David Stirling that I will be the only commanding officer you are not to hit, on the condition that you'll be able to wreak main havoc on the Italians and Germans. Another famous figure in SAS history was John Jock Lewis. He was the SAS's first primary trainer and would exercise his men to the limits. He is thought to be the first official member, other than Stirling himself, to join the SAS. He died in 1941 at the age of 28 during a nighttime raid. On the way back after a raid, he was mortally wounded by Axis aircraft and then soon died on the battlefield. His body was never recovered. This was a massive blow to Stirling, and so he appointed Paddy to become the SAS trainer, but Mayne was not fond of this role, and so protested. After years of many raids, Stirling was eventually captured in mid-January 1943. He would escape many times, but would eventually be recaptured. He was released at the end of the war. With his absence, Paddy Mayne was promoted from captain to major and took charge of the SAS. Paddy Mayne later died in a car crash in 1955. Stirling later died in 1990. The SAS played a significant role in helping the war in North Africa, which changed the tide of the war.